Hello, Dayaan.
Good morning, how are you?
I'm great, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, good, thanks. Not too bad. A bit tired, but yeah, I should be fine.
Tired from a heavy practice?
Yeah, and also like a long weekend because we had a tournament, like a youth tournament at our club. And yeah, we had to stay there until like 1 in the morning the next day, every single day of the weekend. Um, so yeah, just to help out and support the kids and those type of things.
Oh, that's very, very cool. And
Yeah.
is that in Germany?
Uh, yes, exactly.
Okay, so have you got a week left in Germany before you come back to South Africa?
Yeah, exactly. I have like I think 6 days left over here in Germany, and then yeah, I fly out on Monday evening. Yeah,
Okay,
back to South Africa. Yeah.
okay. Well, thank you so much for joining us. And I think what would be helpful to share with the audience is at the moment that you've been playing at Mönchengladbach in Germany, and had a very successful season, and you've been promoted to the Bundesliga. Um, but now you're moving to Holland, and you're going to be going to play for, is it Hoofdklasse in
Yes,
Holland?
exactly. Yes.
Okay. So how do you feel about that? How do you feel about leaving a team that's been really, that you and your brother and others have made really successful? How does it feel to go?
Yeah, I think it's really emotional to be honest. Like my brother and I were sitting down, I think last night with the rest of the guys in the house, the rest of the South Africans, and we were saying, oh, we have 6 days left in Germany, and this could be the last time that we could see this club again. Because of course your journey always you have different goals in life, and sometimes your journey goes different pathways, and yeah, I think it's just really emotional, to be honest, especially for me, being here for 4 years. Um, and like, our goal was always to promote with this team, and they wanted me to play Bundesliga 1 with them, but unfortunately, I think my pathway took me a different direction, and yeah, I decided to sign for Team HDM in Hoofdklasse. But yeah, like I said, it's really emotional to be honest. Yeah, it's really sad because this club has been really amazing to me. The people in the club, it's such a family club, so it's really difficult to say goodbye. But yeah, I think that's life at the end of the day.
Well, it is, and I think you've taken the amazing opportunity to have learned from the experience and to have shared your expertise with them, and I'm sure they learned so much from you too. And I suppose it comes with mixed emotions because you're closing a door on one club, and I know that the Hoofdklasse in Holland has been a dream of yours.
Yeah, 100%. I think, especially with the Olympic season being next year, like Paris being next year, I always wanted to try play in the Hoofdklasse before I, hopefully get selected for Paris, and then just try to make sure that I have a good preparation for, what's to come. Because at the end of the day, as you know, as a South African hockey team, we don't have as much preparation, of course, because we low on funds, we low on, those type of things. So yeah, I think this will be a good prep for me. And like I said, it's always been a goal of mine to play in the highest league with the best players.
Yeah, that's for me. I'm very happy for you, and I'm also sad for you because you look so happy where you are. Tell me, who's coming with you? Who of your South African teammates is coming with you, if any?
Yeah, so it was of course myself and my brother, and it was going to be Ryan Julius. But I think he signed for a different team, which was really not tough, but sad for us as well, because I think he's been, to Holland. He's played Hoofdklasse. I don't know if it'd be nice to, also have a good journey with him and him joining us. But at the end of the day, that's life, and we just have to keep going. But yeah, the coach, I had a chat with the coach the other day, and the people of like HDM. It's been really cool. We had a good chat on Zoom call, and they said how excited they are. They showed us a bit of the apartment. They added us to the group and stuff. So I think it's getting more and more exciting now.
Okay. Yeah, and I think you're doing well with breaking it up with coming home and just having a bit of family time, and with the transition between the two. What are your expectations? Well, before I even ask about the expectations, last time we spoke about the difficulty of playing in a country where your language is not German, for example. And now you're going to Holland, and I mean, you've got a bit of Afrikaans, but it's not the same. Do you have any anxiety around that, or have you prepped for that, or do they have people lined up to help you with those challenges?
I think I am a bit nervous for that, but at the end of the day, I don't think a language thing would make you play bad or better in a way, if that makes sense, especially for sport. So I think I just have to adapt, and maybe they asked us as on the Zoom call if we want to go for like Dutch lessons and stuff, and we said yes, we're willing to. But I'm sure like even here in Germany, like most of the things are in English now at the moment, which is really funny because I think we have more English speaking players than Germans, So I think I just have to adapt and go with the flow. And if I don't understand anything, the best thing to do is just ask.
Yes, no, totally. So what do you think is going to be your greatest adjustment? I mean, you would have had huge adjustments when coming from the safety of what you know in South Africa, for example. Someone says sport is a universal language, which is true. But I know you told me that in Germany you had to learn a few of the calls in German, or you understood exactly what it was. So that's one thing. But what did I say? Oh, the adjustments. So what other adjustments do you think you're going to have to make going to Holland versus Germany? Do you know some of the players?
No, so that's also one of the things that I haven't met any of the players or the coaching staff, only via Zoom call. Of course, my brother went to Holland, I think it was 2 weeks ago. Yeah, he went to watch the game of IDM with some of the friends that were here. And he said that was a really cool club. So at least he got to experience a bit of it. I haven't. But I think it's always cool to have challenges in life in a way, because it makes you a stronger player or a stronger human being. And I think I'm up to any challenge, to be honest. If you don't have a challenge in your life, then I think your life is easy. Then it's boring in a way, if that makes sense.
And I think just through watching you play, it looks like you thrive on pressure. You walk towards pressure, and that's what makes your heart pump. But on that note, what do you think the role of mental health plays on performance? Like, if things are a bit too tough or the pressure's too much, how does it affect your performance?
I think for me personally, sometimes it does affect and sometimes it doesn't. It just depends on the situation. Because at the end of the day, sport is not easy, to be honest. I think people always think sport is easy, but it's not. Some days you have a really good game and everyone's happy for you. The next day you don't have a good game and everyone's saying bad things about you. But I think you just have to stay mentally strong and maybe find support. Where for me personally, I love having like the loved ones or my family, supporting me and sending me like, how are you feeling, those type of things. Because like when we had the conversation the last time, I enjoy, like people being there for me. Because it's not easy, but if there's people there for you, then it gets a little bit easier, if that makes sense.
Yes. It's knowing that you've got a network and you've got a support, and being able to reach out to those people that are available to you and that that are safe. with whatever you tell them.
100%.
Right? Okay. So I mean, the reality is that you've got a few tough challenges coming forward. Number one, you're saying goodbye. Number two, you're coming back to South Africa, and you're going to see your loved ones, and then you're going to have to say goodbye again. Yeah. But the upside is that you've got something exciting waiting for you on the other side. And part of the red to blue training that we do is acknowledging like where the pressure exists or where the distractions exist, and accepting it, and then being able to focus your attention on the task where you need to be going. Do you think you're able to do that? Do you think you manage that process quite well? Acknowledging the pressure or being aware of where the discomfort is?
I think I have a little bit, especially like speaking to like the psychologist of like SA Hockey. We have like Craig Carolyn and Ian Shippey, who helps us a lot with those type of things. And I think it's sometimes we get it right, sometimes we get it wrong, where we struggle. But I think it's just taking baby steps and just taking it, like they say, day by day or minute by minute type of things.
Yeah.
But it doesn't get easier. It's not the most easiest thing, but we just have to adapt, to be honest.
And would you think that mindset is a skill like your drag flick or like a short corner that you've trained and practiced, etc.? Do you think mindset could also be a skill that could be trained and practiced?
Yeah, I think so, to be honest, because if your mindset's good, then I think everything will, fall into place. Especially like in sport where, example, if you miss a goal or something, your mind always gets to you. It says like, oh, you didn't train hard enough, or why didn't you put it into the goals, or those type of things. But at the end of the day, if your mind's positive, if I can put it in this way, if you have a good mind and it's positive, then I think you should be good to go. Of course, It's easier said than done, but you just have to have a good mindset and just have good people around you.
Yeah. And if you listened, I don't know, do you watch tennis?
Yeah, I do a little bit, but not as much.
No, so did you watch the Djokovic game last night?
No.
I mean, not last night, on Sunday night. Anyway, when he won the French Open, he spoke very much about being present, like when the pressure's on, and being present and in the moment. And for example, what you're talking about, if you miss a goal, and it's the skill of not going into the negative cycle of, oh, bad me, negative words, and then the next time you stand up to approach it, having that with you. It's developing the skill of being present in the moment so that your mind's not distracted either by the scoreboard or what was. And I think he practices that enormously through visualization and meditation and all sorts of other holistic skills that he does. So I just thought that was quite interesting. One thing I want to ask you, if you've got youngsters that might be listening to this right now, and they're thinking about moving to clubs overseas or changing clubs or anything like that, what advice would you give them about the highs and the lows or the challenges of approaching that journey?
Sure. So firstly, I think wherever you get an opportunity in life or in work or in general, I think it's important to take it, because sometimes that could be the last opportunity you could ever get.
Okay.
So take the opportunity, and I think, like I said earlier on, life is not easy. So you just have to adapt to the challenges. Once you get to like overseas, like when I came my first time overseas, it wasn't easy for me, especially at the age of 18, leaving my family, leaving the loved ones behind.
Just let's stop there. How did you get to apply to go, or did they find you?
So I played against Germany at Hartley Vale in the summer series, and I remember one of the German coaches like messaging one of the ex-national players and asking like if he has a striker that wants to, that is good enough to play overseas. And then of course they forwarded my name, and then I got into contact with Gladbach Hockey Club, and I think that's how it happened.
Okay, so is that if there are others that wanted to, they just need to apply to the clubs?
Yeah,
Yeah, is
exactly.
that yeah, yeah.
There's like a thing on Instagram that's called like Scored Hockey or something like that, and then
Okay,
they like always send out broadcasts of like if you were they like this club is looking for a player coach or a striker coach or a striker in a way, and then you just sign up for it, and then they ask you for like your CV and those type of things, and then yeah, that's also a good way to get into clubs. Or just
okay,
if you know
and
someone
then
from the club, then it's also easier to ask them.
yes, yes, sure. Dan, do you have a South African passport?
Yes.
Okay, so then what is that process like? What was the process
Yeah.
with?
Yeah. So in the like, for me, it's difficult, especially like because the South African passport is not very strong, to be honest. And we on a tourist visa, which is like a 3-month visa. So you come here for 3 months, go home for like 2 months, and then come back for 3 months. So it's not that easy, especially like not hockey being a massive sport, where like rugby and football and cricket, it's easier for them, you know, so they can get like working visas. But the nice thing for me is like, because we're going to Europe, like to Holland, sorry, my brother and I will get like permits and we can stay there a bit more longer now. They were in Germany, it's
Sure.
only 3 months.
Yeah, and you've created a name for yourself, so I mean that's pretty obvious. But the other thing is, so you sorted out your visas, the clubs accepted you, there would have been contracts exchanged, etc. And then accommodation, do they help you with accommodation? Do you have to sort that out yourself?
Yeah, so the nice thing about HDM or the club I'm at now, they actually give you accommodation, where they give you a flat, or at the moment we're in Gladbach, we're staying in a house with 4 other South African players. So yeah, I know some clubs they give you like apartments and stuff, but other clubs they give you like a large amount of money, and then you have to like pay like rent, if that makes sense. They
With
find you
that
the
money?
apartment, and then yeah, you have to pay rent with the money you have.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. I think that's invaluable information that you're sharing. You know, on the player wellness program that we have, like talking about visas and travel and the stuff that people don't think about. But you know, it's not your skill. Your skill is playing hockey. So when it comes to
Exactly.
the other stuff, it's, you know, you need to speak about it. Like that's what people have. That's the reality. Um, the other thing is just with like you're doing now, media interview. Have you ever been trained in it? Has anyone ever helped you with it? Does it create anxiety? Did it create anxiety? Like, because I tell you what, I've got a young athlete at the moment. She's 17 and she's getting so much media pressure for interviews, for radio, for someone wants to do a film on her. And so what I'm trying to organize her is safe people to, including myself, to help her to manage her boundaries, to be able to know who's not a shark, who's there for her best interest. Talk about that, because I'm sure you would have lots of player managers and all sorts of things after you.
Yeah, so I think uh, it is difficult at times, to be honest, especially like when I got selected to be the captain of the national team. I haven't had so much interviews in my life as I had when I wasn't, you know, the captain of the team. And it's like people try to ask as many questions as possible, and sometimes it's not as easy to answer those questions, especially like because it's going on social media or those type of things. So you try to limit the chat to like just being 1 or 2 questions, if that makes sense. And I think the more you do interviews and the more you speak to people, it gets easier in a way, because then you're getting used to like, you know, speaking on like social media or those type of things. But it's like you said, it takes practice. I think that's the most important thing. It's not easy, but if you just keep doing it over and over, and you're speaking to people like we're doing now on Instagram Live. It's really cool because after this, I could directly listen to the way I spoke or those type of things, and I could, maybe make my grammar a bit better or, those type of things. So I think it's just all about practice.
Yeah. And did you, at the beginning, set 2 questions? Like if say I was a journalist, would you set the 2 questions saying, this is what I'm going to answer, this is what I want to talk about? Or did they send you the questions? And like, how did you set your boundaries?
Yeah, so I try to not speak. I try to mostly speak. Mostly ask them like, what are their questions? And if they send me their questions, and I would say like, maybe this question is not easy to answer now. Maybe we could just have a normal chat about it because of circumstances, and then they're understandable. And then some question I just say, can you maybe ask about the team? Because it's mostly, they always ask like, what do you think in your opinion, or those type of things. And for me, I'd like to speak open and just say how the team is feeling, or, those type of things. Because at the end of the day, South African hockey, or our team, I think it's really special, and I think they need to be mentioned, because we have such good amount of players and different cultures, which makes us, really cool or amazing people and team. So I think it's important to also acknowledge our, the South African men's hockey team, or the South African hockey, community.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. You know what? Thank you so much, because Dan, I just think it's invaluable. People ask you about the sport, but the more I'm working with the youngsters, the more I realize there's so much behind the scenes that's actually stressful. And
100%.
if people could talk about it and share their journey, then it would help them,
100%.
So I'm so grateful for your time. And please, when you get to Cape Town, can we meet for a coffee?
100%.
Yeah. We'll come and watch you playing. Are you going to be playing at Central? Or just,
yes. Yes,
okay.
I am. Yeah.
Fabulous.
Perfect.
Well, all the best with your farewells. And
thank you.
Yeah, just treasure them, and it's a new chapter that you're starting, and I'm sure they're so grateful for the time that you guys have given to them and the goals that you've scored for them.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much for your time, and also to everyone that joined. To be honest, I think it's really cool, and I think it's always nice to have chats like this. And maybe next time we could ask people to ask some questions if they, willing to ask questions on like the live. But yeah, Joe, thank you for your time, and hope you have a great day further.
Yeah, thanks, Dayaan. You too.
No worries. Bye-bye.
Bye.